honestly. This can be listened to as a podcast because seeing the screen is not vital to this experience. This video, did you hear my hip bone crack? This video is about normalizing spirituality and making it accessible to everyone. And this is part one. So part one is using your emotions as a guidance system. That's one topic that we're going to be covering. But the first thing that I want to talk about, which I think is very important, is my intention for the video, for the blog, for my life, is just to hold space for the divine, the mystical, and the magic that is just going to be ever present in our lives. But I want to balance that with the practicality and the messiness and the responsibilities that are inherent to human nature. So main goal is to make spirituality, like I said, accessible and easy to talk about, so that everyone can understand and take something away from it. And I'm going to try and not use filler words in this conversation, so make sure I don't do that. But if I do, drink a sip of water every time I do. We need to hydrate ourselves. So in the spiritual community, there is a common theme of certain practices that can sometimes feel or seem really out of reach or very exclusive to the community, which, you know, the community is everybody, but sometimes it is made to seem just kind of otherworldly, and it includes things such as like sound healings and yoga retreats and having an abundance of crystals and doing rituals and things like that, which are like some things that I either love or like want to embark on. But otherwise, like, there are other practices that you can do in your daily life that can help you feel just more grounded and connected to yourself. And I think those practices are the most important. So that includes meditation, which is just simply focusing on your breathing and closing your eyes, and that's it. Like, that's all you gotta do is just breathe. I'll make a video about that later, but yeah, I just want to make sure that people feel included in this mindfulness journey. And I also want to destigmatize the connotation around spirituality, because it isn't reserved for just a special group of people. It's for everybody, but I know that on social media it can seem very exclusive. So we're not about that here. We're about inclusivity, and it applies to everybody, and it can look so different for each person, but the message is the same. I'm gonna try and look at the camera. I've been looking at myself. But the message is the same. There's the same goal. And for me, it means bringing in and prioritizing your joy, doing what grounds you and what brings you the most fun and happiness and peace in your life. So that leads us to part two. And part two is all about using your emotions as a guidance system and just figuring out what you want. It's just inherent in us to have emotions and responses to things. Like, every day you are presented with something, whether it be an idea or a person or an advertisement or something, a decision that it conjures up some sort of response from you. And you know how you feel about it if you just listen to your body. And if a decision feels right, there's no hesitation. You can just jump into it and it feels good. For example, if someone presents you like with a decision for like a banana smoothie and a strawberry smoothie, it can be pretty easy. It could be like, yeah, I want that banana smoothie because I want bananas today, or yeah, I want strawberries. Regardless of what you decide, you know almost instantly what you want. Like with food, it's a little bit easier, but sometimes it can be difficult, but it's a little easier because you know what you like and what you don't like, right? But when it comes to feelings, about more complex issues, it definitely gets a little bit more complicated. But the main part of this is to listen to your intuition and your emotions, because they are telling you when something is aligned with what you want, when something isn't. So if something is causing you a sense of uneasiness or instability or just a negative feeling overall, that's your body saying, hey, we need to take a step back and kind of evaluate the situation and go in the direction of what feels good. So I'm going to lead into this analogy, which I think is super, super important, and I'm very proud that I came up with this, but it's about giving yourself consent. So, and as we know, consent should be enthusiastic and, I don't know, full of all the good feelings. Imagine a time when you're on a date, okay, and you have great chemistry with this person, everything's playful and light, and you're just having a grand old time, and it comes to the end of the night where, you know, there's that inevitable, like, will they not kiss moment. So you're facing each other, and there are two options. Either you kiss or you don't kiss, and hopefully they ask you for your consent before this happens, but they say, like, can I kiss you? What is your gut reaction? Like, if you have chemistry with this person and everything is great and you're attracted to them, like, duh, you're gonna want to kiss them. Like, you will want their lips on your lips. Like, this is a non-negotiable thing. So you say yes, you kiss them, and it's great, and it takes no time for you to deliberate this whole entire part in your head because you're just listening to your body. And yeah, even though that's a more kind of primal thing, it's still very relevant to what I'm talking about, because you just know when you want something and when you don't. And on the flip side, like, if you are on a date with someone and you're not really vibing with them 100%, you're not entirely attracted to them, and they ask you to kiss them, your reaction is going to be like, no, you know, you're not going to say it like that, but you will want to not engage in that intimate activity with that person. You just don't want to, because you know how it feels to want to kiss someone. So it's important to keep in mind that feeling of, like, yes, like, this feels good and I'm not even gonna second guess it. That's the example. And the whole important part of it, though, is the enthusiastic willing part of it. So always seek that feeling of yes when you are making a decision. So I'm gonna switch over to another example, which I think a lot of college students will be able to relate to. So this is for you guys back at my home university, but at any other university that you guys are at. Let's pretend that you go out all the time. Doesn't have to be every day, but you go out often, like at least once a week. And you go to parties, to dagers, bars, clubs, whatever it may be. And a friend just assumes that night, you know, it's like Friday night maybe, or maybe it's a Wednesday, it's Wine Wednesday, and your friend just assumes that you're going to go out tonight, and they're just asking you what frat party you'd rather go to, or if you want to go to a bar, just kind of like deliberating between that. And usually you wouldn't think to say no, I don't want to go. You would just say, oh, I want to go to this frat instead, because you go out all the time and it's a normal thing for you to just go out, and you don't want to miss out on the fun. And I know FOMO is such a real thing, but let's say you need to study for a test, or you have a shit ton of homework to do and you just want to get that done so you're not academically stressed. You can say no. I think we forget that we have the option to say no, especially when we're given an invitation. It is hard to be like no, because you don't want to upset that person, and you don't want to make that person feel like you don't want to spend time with them. But really, it's just you saying yes to yourself. Consent. You're saying yes to yourself, and you want to spend your energy on things that will bring you happiness. If you don't want to go out to a frat party and get wasted, then don't. You can say no, and you can give yourself that weekend to get your shit done and relax and watch Netflix and do whatever it is that you want to do, because it's your life and your happiness and your joy is of the utmost importance, because that's the only thing that you can really control. I mean, for me, sometimes it seems so simple because I was at a period in my life where I'd go out all the time. This was covered in my blog post, From College Mess to Mindfulness, how I started living with attention at theonlygirl.co. Just a little plug-in, but I wrote that and it felt really good because I was just reflecting on my life, and at this period of time where I wasn't thinking about myself, I was just going out recklessly, getting drunk. I never drink before then. I would, like, in Mexico maybe, but like I just didn't, it wasn't my thing, and it isn't now. But I would just go to parties and just drink away anything that I was feeling, and then I'd wake up the next morning just feeling so gross and just not in my body, and I just did not like that feeling. It's so important for me to feel good in my body and to feel grounded in it. Like, this is what grounds me the most, is just feeling connected and healthy. And so I was like, fuck that. I'm not drinking anymore. The story's a little bit more specific than that, but yeah, it's saying yes to yourself and saying yes to what you want and saying yes to all the feelings and joy that you want to bring in your life. So going back to the party analogy, if you're presented with this decision and if you say yes out of normalcy and not because you actually want to, I would reevaluate that and see like what you have to do. Even if you have nothing to do and if you just don't want to go out, that is even better. Like, you can just relax and do nothing. But setting your priorities, which is going to be the part 2 of this, is so essential, because then you are deliberately saying to yourself, these are the things that are important to me, and I'm going to set time aside for it so that I can be happy. And that's really what this is all about. It's just being happy. And that's what spirituality is about. It's just about being happy. Okay, so I was editing this and I was like realizing a huge thing I need to mention. It's obviously not as simple as just being happy. I think that's toxic positivity, in the sense that, like, you know, the whole positive vibes only narrative. What I mean is just prioritizing your joy and prioritizing your sense of peace and comfort, and being in tune with that, and honoring yourself by making decisions that are going to be helpful to you and decisions that won't cause you any distress. So that's what I mean by that, and we're going to continue the video and just really keep that in mind throughout the next part of the spiel. I was just kind of really excited and going on a tangent. It's so simple. It's about the joy and having that be the only thing that matters to you. And it's not a selfish thing. Honestly, it is, but it's, take away the connotation of selfish. It just means saying yes to yourself. And I will say that a million times. I really like that phrase though, because it resonates with me, and it just feels so good to just have that be a practice in my life forever. So I think that is it for this video. It felt a lot more calm than the first time I tried doing it, because for some reason the mic just kind of grounds me a little bit. So that's it for this video. If you want to keep up with this whole accessible spirituality and practices kind of guide series thing, make sure to subscribe. And also, I have my social media links down below, as well as my blog, you know, the whole end of YouTube credit spiel. But yeah, and if you want to know what I'm wearing Heart the Label. I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was, but this is their bandeau, like tube top thing. All sustainable. I fuck with sustainability. So yeah, and I got these earrings from a local artist in a small town in Italy, which I'm currently in. It was at Monterzoni. I think I pronounced the city right. Very, very, very small. And yeah, I just got these earrings from there. So I hope that this video helped, and that you found something, I don't know, helpful, something that resonated with you. Also, I noticed that my voice is like super monotoned, so I hope I didn't lull you guys to sleep. But yeah, that's it, and have a good day.